Hi everybody, it's Caroline here. Welcome to my channel. Today I am taking part in the Traci Redesign Team YouTube Hop, and we are using the new March printable kit, and it is called Felicity. It's absolutely fantastic, and I am using this Traveller's Notebook signature with a fantastic quote in the middle of it as my jumping off point. I had already started creating this project off camera a while ago. Actually, as soon as I'd done the printout of the kit, I knew I wanted to use this signature for this story, and I'd extended my my page to 5 inches wide by adding in some of that blue and white diagonal stripe paper, and then I set it aside and forgot, and then I completely forgot what my plan and my design was going to be for this layout. So I'm kind of working from a place that's already slightly started. I've got pretty much the whole kit. I've only created 2 projects so far with it, one in a 6x8 pocket page and one in my memory planner, so lots and lots of product to work with. But because I've already made that decision to add that blue and white stripe on the left hand side, I've got to, in my own mind, I've got to carry that colour scheme, that design over onto the right hand page. So that's what I'm doing now. I've pulled out one of the mixed media papers for the background paper on the right hand side. One of the great things about this kit is that Traci has added in lots of mixed media in the actual digital kit, in the printable collection, lots and lots of paint splatters, distressed effects, and I really love it. It's fantastic how she is able to add so much dimension onto a printable and digital kit. It's a real skill, and it just is a joy to work with. Now I've got 2 black and white photos that I want to include on today's project. I'd originally intended to kind of stack them up on the right hand side, but then as I've looked through the journaling cards, I've pulled out one that's got that same mixed media effect on it, and I'm actually going to include that as an insert. So I'll have the Traveller's Notebook signature on the left hand side, Traveller's Notebook on the right hand side, and then a 3x4 insert in between the 2 pages with a photo and a journaling and a kind of journal spot on the one side, which is what I'm looking through now to see what journaling card will fit with this colour scheme. And then on the flip side, there is going to be the photo and a little touch of a quote that comes on the journal card that I'm backing the photo onto. So I've not done this this design element before, this an insert with just a 3x4 card, but I'm really happy with how it looks, and it just means that my right hand page can have lots of design elements, lots of interest, lots of embellishments without the need to add in any journaling on that side. So I can really go to town on the right hand side with lots of pretty things. I've got that big quote on the left hand side as my title, and then the insert gives me lots of space to type up my journaling and add it on later with some matte sticker paper. When Traci releases one of her kits, I tend to print out all of the Traveller's Notebook size papers. I also print all of the journaling cards because I know I'm going to want to use all of it, and I use all of the sticker pack as well, so I will print that entire die cut sticker pack. As I'm going through the papers here, just to re-familiarise myself with what's in there and pull out any papers that I think I might want to use in the paper layers on that right hand side, I've spotted that there's a different mixed media, which I knew was there, but I'm actually going to switch this one in because it's got that blue stripe already on that side. It matches the mixed media 3x4 card that I've pulled out, and I love it because it just brings in a touch more of that blue onto the right hand page, which just really, for my eye, gives me lots and lots of balance. So at this point I've still got 3 of the 3x4 journaling cards that I could use. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with. It all depends on which papers I choose to layer up behind that photo. One of my favourite things to do when I'm working with a printable collection is rough up the edges, and I was just testing to see whether I could still bring up the edge of that quote Traveller's Notebook signature, and I can if I want to, but in the end I'm going to go a different route, and a route that I don't normally use, and I'm going to kind of follow on with the mixed media that Traci has inspired me with on her background papers, and I'm going to bring in some distress inks and some mists and add in some additional splotches just to make it a little bit messier and I wouldn't have done that if Traci hadn't included these elements on her pages. So I think it's fantastic that digital designers of printable scrapbook products can inspire you to create very differently or try different things in your physical scrapbooking. You know, I don't work digitally with Traci's kits. I print them. I do some hybrid elements, so I sometimes do things with her products on Photoshop and then print them out, but I work primarily with paper, so it really inspires me when I see aspects of her kits like this to do and try something different. So I've decided to ink all of my edges with Distress ink, and I'm using Faded Jeans. It matches the blue really, really well in Traci's collection. It's a bit old school to do this, but it's something that I do like to do from time to time, and I really recommend using one of those sponge pads if you do choose to do this, because it just gives you that little bit more of a softer tone and a little bit more control over the ink that you're adding to the paper. You can do it in a much more subtle way. So layering up now the blue stripe with a really gorgeous floral, and the distressing on that floral, I don't know whether you can see a little bit of it on camera, it's absolutely amazing. It's got like a book print texture on there. The texture that she's got in this Felicity collection is phenomenal. Really can't recommend it enough. Now, before I go much further, I've decided that I want to punch my holes in these pages so that I know exactly what I'm working with. I'm working in a kind of ARC or memory Happy Planner disc bound album for my traveller's notebook, so there's a lot of holes to punch, so I'm doing that straight away so I know exactly what where I can position things, so that if they need a hole, I'm not going to put too many layers, because that will compromise my hole punch. I've got a very big hole punch for this, but I don't want to be punching too many holes in through too many layers. So what I'm doing here is I want to do the alignment on these so that the one photo, when it's in the album, will sit on top of the other. So it's a bit of a added interest, a bit of kind of interactivity that you can't, nothing peeps out from the side. As you open the page, it could just be a spread with 2 pages, but it's actually a spread with 2 photos. I've got the entire die cut sticker sheets. I think there's 3 sheets that Traci's got in this collection. She tends to always have 3 or 4 sheets in her collections. It's a fantastic value. You get absolutely tons and tons of die cuts to use, and which I love because I like to stick all of the things onto the pages. So I know I want to build up a cluster of embellishments on the bottom right of that photo. I also want to add a couple of touches to this left-hand side above and below the quote, just to frame it. But I'm starting to feel that these 2 pages feel quite different, although the palette obviously is exactly the same and they are meant to go together. And because I've opted for that really distressed, really grungy paper on the right hand side, I want to add some of those additional colours to that sheet on to the traveller's notebook signature on the left. And this is where I'm really going to engage in some creative play. I've got 2 blue mists out. It's a Dilutions in After Midnight and an old Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist in Icicle Blue, and I've practiced on a journaling card, and I've opted for the Icicle Blue from Tattered Angels, and I'm just going to put some of that blue mist as a sprinkle, a splatter on the top left and right of that Traveller's Notebook signature on the diagonal. And I've decided that I want to add a little touch more onto this this already distressed and ink splattered sheet from Traci. And this is where I have a little bit of a whoops, because I'm having lots of fun, I'm really liking the way it looks, so I decide I want to add it onto here. Of course I take my photo off to protect it so that it doesn't get any ink on it, but somehow as I'm doing things I get ink on the photo, so I have to go away, reprint my photo, and I don't know what happens, but for some reason the exact same photo is going to come out with a very, very different tone. And you will see that it's a warmer tone to the original one, so I'm going to have to reprint it, and it will work out fine in my album in the end. But for now I'm just going to go with that slightly warmer colour and then replace it afterwards. And what you didn't see, and I didn't realise the camera wasn't filming, was that I actually added some green up on the top left and bottom right of that Traveller's Notebook signature again. This time I used Distress Oxide, and I used salvaged patina and shabby shutters, and I actually layered them up because neither colour was quite right for this collection. But with a great thing with the Distress Oxide inks is you can layer them on top of each other. So I started with a layer of the salvaged patina, which is the kind of teal, and then I added the shabby shutters onto the top, which is the green, and that made a green that matched this collection perfectly, and I'm really happy with how it looked. It meant that Traveller's Notebook signature on the left hand side has now got all of the colours of the collection in. It really matches the mixed media effects that Traci had put in onto the pages that she's already created, and I've also got a little touch of stamping on there with a roller stamp, and again I used the Faded Jeans Distress ink there, so that blue that matches the collection really well. I'm going to go backwards and forwards here and add in some journaling blocks to work as the basis for my embellishment clusters. I had originally intended to put a title up on the top left hand side, but I don't know what I was thinking, because I really don't need a title, because that was my whole point of picking that large quote. So I will suddenly realise that at one point. Luckily I don't bring any alphas out and start sticking anything down, so it just means that I can build an embellishment cluster up on the top of the photo as well. My process for the embellishments with these kits is that I will, especially at the beginning when I've got everything, I will tend to switch the camera off, go through the embellishments and look for colours that are focal on my pages, and also the sentiments. There's lots and lots of sentiment pieces in Traci's collections which are really brilliant, word bits, longer phrases, really great. So I always pull out the sentiments first, then I will choose whether I'm going with an icon or a motif. Will I use a floral, will I use rainbows, that kind of thing, and then just lay them up. And I will always start with the larger pieces first and then kind of work down to the smaller pieces. I like to add dimension to my pages because I'm working primarily with paper. Sometimes I print onto transparencies or matte sticker paper, but it's all flat. I'm not creating a chipboard, I haven't got puffy stickers. So the way that I add my embellishment is sometimes with the inking of the edges. It gives that illusion of depth, and also with pop dots I tend to bring in some dimension by lifting up some of my die cuts. I think I will end up lifting this quote, that orange quote. What I'm doing here is just pulling in some of that matte sticker paper that I talked about earlier, and I've got one sheet of the die cut stickers printed on that sticker paper, and again, it's a different texture, a different dimension. Things work really well on it. The colours are a lot more muted on there, so that it's a lot more subtle, but it's great for layering things up and just having things in the background. It kind of almost gives that illusion that you've stamped something on there rather than having the weight of something printed on paper. You might have noticed earlier on in the video that I tried that exact same rainbow that was printed onto my card that I print all my die cuts on, and it looked great, but it just had a heavier weight to it, and I wanted something a little bit more subtle up in this top left corner. This is where I've just popped that quote card up on a pop dot just to give it some added dimension, and now I'm going to work on my insert. So I'm bringing in the piece that I've already done, so I've already backed the photo onto one of the cards, and I'm going with this card that just says documented on the top. It's got a little bit of the splattering. I've added in some additional stamping there with my roller stamp. Can't remember where I got that from. It's really old. And what I will do is I will print my my journaling onto some matte sticker paper at a size 10 font. I'm not going to show that on camera because it's a private story, and I'm just using another little strip of that pink distressed floral that I've used on the right hand side just to fill in the back of where the photo peeks out from behind. And it's really just a case of duplication, so I know that I've got that pattern just peeking as a layer on the right hand page, and so I want to bring that into this, what will be the left hand side once this is turned, so that it's all lovely and coherent. The great thing with Traci's collections, when you work primarily with the whole of the collection and you don't swap in any additional products, is that everything is meant to go together. You know, she designs them so well so that they beautifully work together. It just makes it so easy to scrapbook. You know, you don't have to try to find a card with the right tone of pink. Everything just works beautifully together. So just tidying things up, and as I said, a few things to do off camera to complete this layout. One will be to reprint that photo so that it will be in a cooler tone again. Not sure what happened there. Second thing will be to add my journaling onto this card that will flip, so it will sit with the photo showing and then turn, and the journaling will be there opposite that second photo. I've added in a couple of puffy hearts off camera just from my stash because I always love to do that, and I'm adding the date onto that journal spot down there on the bottom right. I'm really passionate about adding the dates onto all of my projects so that I know in the future, when I look back on these, I know exactly what was happening when in our lives. And that will be it for this layout. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you have enjoyed the YouTube hot videos prior to this and those that you will be watching after this. So please do follow along. The links are in the description box below. There will be lots and lots of interest, lots of inspiration from other members of the team and Traci herself, all of them working with this gorgeous Felicity collection. And I can't tell you just how much it inspires people in so many different ways. It's so fascinating to see how the team use the same products to have such completely different layouts and designs. It's just brilliant. So I really hope you've enjoyed this. Please give me a thumbs up if you have, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe. I am loving this YouTube journey. It's really great to create projects and share it with people and to have interactions, so please feel free to leave any comments that you have about this video down in the comments box. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.